Hello. So it is day 4 of the Hungry Ghost Reset program. And today for the next 3 days, we're going to be shifting our focus a little bit from just grounding into where the habit started and now moving into more about how we feel about the habit, if that makes sense. And we're going to do that through observing our thoughts and our autopilot responses when it comes to the habit. And our beliefs around the habit. So a big part, I think sometimes, at least for me, if I feel like something I'm doing is bad and I have shame around it, it creates a little bit more of a clinging to the thing, because you have a story that you're doing something that's bad, and there's more room for compulsion there. So that's just something to think about. For our activity today, we are just kind of thinking in terms of when we are actually abstaining from the habit that we've set the intention to work through, what is coming up in its place, right? So if, say, we're not doing this one thing that we said that we're doing, but then we're doing something else unhealthy so that we stop, is that necessarily working out of the hungry ghost, or is that just the hungry ghost being shifted to a new focus? And you might notice this about yourself. I definitely notice it with me. As I abstain from one thing, I start to move into something else. So an example of that is maybe I'm trying not to contact somebody because I associate the compulsion to do that with an underlying habit. And as a result, I go to snacking, right? And so there's some sort of negative connotation of replacing one habit with the other. Now, we want to be able to replace the habits that aren't necessarily serving us, but we want to do it in a way that's actually going to be affirming and doing something that we don't feel shame about, or we don't have any negative thought patterns about. And I think the way that we can observe and we can start to monitor whether or not it's our true self doing something to feel better and feel a little bit more aligned, or if it's a hungry ghost acting out to get a basic need met, is the thoughts that are happening while we're doing it and the feelings that are happening while we're doing it, if that makes sense. So an example is if I'm replacing one habit, say it's smoking, with eating, compulsive eating, and while I'm eating, I'm thinking, I shouldn't be doing this. This is bad. That's a good sign that maybe this isn't a positive way to replace the habit, right? Does that make sense? The same is true or alternatively, say I'm replacing the compulsion to smoke with taking a walk around the block. And while I'm taking the walk around the block, I'm thinking, wow, I'm breathing really well right now. I didn't even realize how much I needed this walk. I feel my shoulders relaxing. It feels really, really good. I know that is actually a positive replacement for the habit. Now, positive replacements for habits can turn into hungry ghost things as well. So an example of that is I love to hike. I'm going to give a personal example and say I start to overdo the positive thing. So say I should be working on applying to jobs, but instead I'm booking another hike and another week-long hike somewhere, right? So is it actually helping my overall wellness and well-being to go on this hike, or am I running from something? Is the hungry ghost trying to trick me? Like, this is a positive thing. Hiking is a positive thing, but if I'm sabotaging other areas of my life in order to do that, there might be some sort of numbing happening there, some sort of basic need that's not being met. So when we're replacing our habit with something else, we want to start to really notice what we're thinking, what we're feeling, if there's something we're trying not to think or feel, and be honest with ourselves. Is this actually going to help me to replace it with this, or should I be finding another alternative? Make sense? Yeah? So for today, we're going to come back into our grounding exercise that we've been doing for the first 3 days. And we're just going to ask ourselves some questions once we get grounded. Before I get into that, when we're doing that inquiry where we're reaching for things to replace the habit, I want you to start to think about what it is that you're actually needing in those moments. An example that came up in a conversation yesterday with someone participating in the program is I could hear what she was saying, and it was her body, her mind, her spirit, whatever, wanting to feel cared for after having a hard day. And that's where the treat came in, or the indulgence came in, or the craving comes in, because there's an association with, if I engage in my habit, I am rewarding myself or I'm taking care of myself. So the body, the system is asking to be cared for, that it wants you to focus on you. So you can do that in ways that aren't detrimental to your well-being, like taking the walk, like sitting in meditation, like talking to someone about your day, whatever feels like taking a salt bath, things that are going to be helpful for you. And then also understanding even the healthiest things, if done in an obsessive way, can still be unhealthy. Even too much kale can be bad for you. Too many salt baths could be bad for you. So it's just really trying to find balance in our approach to self-care and self-study. All right, so sitting nice and tall. Your eyes can be closed. If they're open, you're going to focus them onto one spot. Just moving into the present moment through the senses, through the breath. Maybe using the Soham mantra from yesterday. Noticing the feeling of your seat, the temperature in the room, the taste in your mouth. Any light or images coming through the eyes. Any smells. The sound of your breath, the sounds in the room. Noticing the subtle shifts in your body as you breathe in and out. And as you tune in with your body, maybe just noticing if any area of the body has more awareness than others, more sensation. You can place your hand on that area if you feel called. You don't have to, of course. You might place one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. These are always somewhat sensitive areas. And together, let's just set the intention to uncover, to hear, to better understand what needs our cravings are trying to fulfill. And how some of our feelings and thoughts about these cravings might be distracting us from that more simplistic need, deeper need. And trusting that by setting this intention, your subconscious mind, your body, your creative self will be able to see and uncover whatever that need is. And maybe in this moment also setting the intention to be able to distinguish the hungry ghost, the needy part of you from your true self, the part of you that's neutral and doesn't really need anything, already has everything. And that might just be an intellectual thing in this moment. It doesn't have to be felt or understood. But giving yourself space to really call in, being able to clarify the two. Distinguish the two. Okay. So today and the next 3 days, we're going to be journaling a little bit more, observing a little bit more. If you want to journal it in your Hungry Ghost journal, go for it. You might just record it on your phone. You might sing it out, however you go about it, but just letting yourself process however feels right for you. We don't need to, just trust that by the end of the program, you'll understand. Don't worry about if you don't understand today. Okay? All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day.